Hello there, lads and ladies. Welcome back, finally, to another manga review. Today, we are continuing the series of Konohana Kitan, but we'll be doing Volume 7. Now, with Volume 7 of Konohana Kitan, we have a couple of things to redo, basically. Like, we kind of left off on a bit of a cliffhanger. Sorry guys, bit of a early morning for me. Well, here and there, basically. But, yeah, so where we left off in the last episode, we basically got to see a couple of things happen. Like, we got to see Satsuki's sister get shot in the head, like, with a good amount of blood gushing now, to believe that somewhat she's been hurt or killed. That has not happened. She's obviously stronger than you imagine, and spirits are very hard to kill, as it seems, because she takes this quite in stride, at least until Satsuki tries to chase her down to try and kill her again by making her seem emotional, which she is on good occasions, Satsuki bless her. And there's even a scene later on where she like takes a bath with Yuzu. Like, she's kind of like forced out of bed by Yuzu because it's kind of a special thing to kind of have a sauna or a bath, basically an onsen bath in the snow, and it was very heavily snowing that winter. Yuzu basically decides to like take her down to the bath to have a conversation about, you know, her time at Konohana Day, and Satsuki kind of lets slip a little bit of what she thinks of Yuzu and what Yuzu has done for Konohana Day, basically. And this obviously moves Yuzu quite an awful lot because she's not used to hearing Satsuki be quite open, really, basically. And we do see a little bit more of her honesty later on within the series, basically, how she's more open with Yuzu because of that, you know, closeness they've had over the years that they've been with each other, basically. Well, I say years, it's probably no more than been about 8 months or so. Although I think, well, it's not very clear if there's a timestamp for how long they've been at Konohana Yuzu, basically, but I believe, I heard, like, at first I heard it was like 8 months, but then I read somewhere that it was like a year or so, so it goes back and forth between the volumes, but yeah, I'm not so certain of the actual time that they've spent there. But they end up having a fever together in bed for God knows how long, so, you know, it's nice to have like an onsen bath out in the freezing cold temperatures, but yeah, I believe Yuzu has a fever thanks to overheating in the onsen, whilst Satsuki basically has one because of the cold. So yeah, interesting that. Yeah, because I'm quite a cold-bodied person, so I tend to feel the cold more than most other people, really. Like, it takes me considerably more to heat up, basically. So I'm probably more like Satsuki when it comes to stuff like that, you know, I'm more perceptible to cold. Maybe I just don't wear my heart on my sleeves or anything like that, maybe that's why they're so cold, you never know. But it then moves on to another section where the little doll happens to find this little jar that we talked about, where it like spewed out all of the evil spirits in the last episode. Well, there's this one little goblin that plops out, and I believe the soul of this young girl who was friends with the girl from one of the previous volumes has somehow like latched on to this goblin type creature. I mean, I can't really remember the specifics, but I believe that their souls have entwined, basically, because of her like self-hatred, I think, for herself, or like her kind of inadequacy growing to a certain degree. So I think it's a part of her. Well, I don't think it's her soul that's attached to it, but a piece of her is like caught within this jar and within this goblin type creature, basically. And the doll kind of like tries to get her to understand how hateful humans are and how despicable they can be. But the girl in the goblin soul basically has like the opportunity to show the doll how kind humans can be, and how kind you know, those around her can be, basically. Like how she kind of like sees how the fox yokai basically treats the doll basically like one of their own basically. So it's no different to how a human soul can treat you basically. So she learns a little bit about kindness and forgiveness basically through this goblin type creature, through this spirit of this young girl, and the young spirit is at rest from the girl, and she's able to meet her friend up in heaven or wherever it is basically. So that was quite a lovely storyline, and then it goes further into the story of Yae-San, where she is kind of owed a debt to the spirits who is trying to get hold of Kiri, basically. Like, she is trying to get hold of Kiri, but I feel like if Yae-San offers herself up, that's more of a rewarding prospect. And like how I explained in previous volumes, she's not basically after, her soul or anything, like Yae-San's soul, even though she offered her soul up. She just wanted her to return to her services. It just shows how bad it was for her to be within her services if she was just willing to, give her life up for her daughter. But again, any parent would give up their life for their child, no problem, basically. It's just, if she did just thought it through a little bit, maybe she would have been spared giving her life up, for her child. But, you kind of need, like, heroical stuff like that in this to make it more interesting to read, and that it does, but it's just a shame to see Yae-San give herself up for a reason like that when it could have been avoided, basically. So it kind of goes into more, this volume kind of like expands on what the spirit does. Basically, it's kind of like the devil's work in a certain sense. So like if you like wish for something and then that wish is then granted to you, you then have to give your soul up, basically. So it's kind of a bargaining chip type deal, basically, which is kind of an unfortunate thing, really, because Kiri, I believe, as young as she is, she still has some resentment towards her mother and father, because she feels like that she's had an awful lot of pressure being put onto her, and she still believes that her brother is kind of that person that was willing to be a better person than he was, but vicariously through her. So she didn't want to basically be a shrine maiden because of the added pressure that was being put onto her, basically. The brother is learning to basically try and support the family, but he also feels those strains himself, which we find out when Kiri, bless her, she goes back to see her family, and she didn't give her mother time to basically explain her feelings and thoughts of Kiri, basically. So it's how it is. Parents tend to keep certain things from their kids to protect them, but ultimately it ends up hurting them, really. So if this world was just a little bit more honest with each other, we'd probably have less hurt people in it. It was the same with the brother, basically. The brother missed Kiri, basically. He missed his sister. So it must have been hard for him to grow up without her in his life, basically. And she realises that. But ultimately, she does go back to Konohana to work there alongside Yae-San and so on and so forth. And then that story will pick up later on in the next volume. It will start to show the memory of Yae-San slowly digressing as time goes on, basically. It does get quite heartbreaking, really, to see her like go back through her memories to childhood, really. So I'll be talking about that in the next episode for sure. But it's still quite upsetting to see that, really, how the mind like progresses, like digresses like that in a certain sense, But I guess in a way, Yae-San kind of sees Kiri in a new light, basically, as kind of as a mother figure and kind of as a best friend figure, depending on her position in life when it comes to her memory regressing. It's just unfortunate that she forgets her daughter, really, because I'm sure Sakura, she never speaks that much this often. I think it was due to Yae-San, but she did speak when she was younger, like very more as a baby, but as she's grown older, she just doesn't speak, mostly, I think, due to Yae-San. I'm not so certain, and I think I don't know if it's just because she just talks to Kiri because of that connection she has with Yae-San, but I feel like that they should be that they should flush those scenes out more within the book, because obviously Sakura and Kiri have that close bond, but we don't see much of it really. Like we don't see Kiri like like taking her around Konohana or taking care of her, or like showing her the world around. That was like a missed opportunity to like see more of the beautiful world that um, that Konohana Kitan could show off basically, because it's lovely. It's lovely, especially in the winter. Like there's this one scene where Satsuki and Yuzu are having a bath and they're like looking over at the valley with like these mountain tops like completely covered in snow with the moon in the background. It's this scene here. It's absolutely gorgeous. Like I especially love how you see some of the snowflakes falling off of the tree, and how the snow is just beautifully placed over the mountainside. Basically, it's absolutely gorgeous because it's just so. It's neatly done. It's not too. It's very rare that you find scenes like this where it just pans across, and I love that type of stuff because within Konohana Kitan, I'm mostly intrigued by the characters, the development of the characters, and also the landscapes. Because when I saw the anime, I believe that it was probably the most beautiful scene I saw, where Yuzu was coming up towards Konohana Day, and the stairway like led up to this beautiful pagoda-looking hotel with cherry blossoms on both sides and all around the pagoda. Basically, it was really lovely and very gorgeous, and I like how they were able to transcend that from the book into the anime. It's just a shame that we never got to see a scene like that in the anime, because to see like snow falling is like one of the most beautiful animated things you could see, really, especially if you do snow right, because snow can really look beautiful on the screen. Basically, that's all I have to say. And the book ends off. Sorry, I haven't read this in quite a long time, so it's just trying to remember what's what, basically. So yeah, Kiri obviously like makes amends with her brother and father and mother, but she still has this lingering effect of the spirits that is still trying to latch onto Yae-San, and that is where she lets Yae-San know that your daughter will die within a certain amount of time, so you'll have to make a decision on how you could save her, which she obviously offers her soul up to her, and then thus her memory regresses basically, and that is how the book ends. Quite it's kind of meant to be an odd cliffhanger, like one of the most serious cliffhangers of the series. We don't see much of Yae-San in the original anime, and I thought that was quite like upsetting to see, really, because it was a very serious focal point and probably one of the main focal points that kept people coming back to read this book. So why they wouldn't like add a season 2, or at least add some mention to Yae-San, was kind of surprising, really, because I first watched the anime and then read the manga to find out about Yae-San. I was kind of like, why did they leave her out? She seems like a very important character. Very surprising, right? I guess they wanted to focus more on the beauty side of her Hana Kitan and like the lessons that it teaches. But then if you cut out like the lesson of like dealing with heartbreak or dealing with a loss of a family member, like how do you expect like to develop as a person? You have to lose those in your life to better yourself in a certain sense. It's unfortunately a way of us to cope with much harder things. We have to learn how to cope with loss, or otherwise it just unravels us as a person, really. Because I've obviously lost family members, and obviously so have you watching this, and the only way to deal with said loss is to grieve, is to celebrate that person's life, is to remember the good times and the sad times, because we're not all perfect human beings, and we all have moments in our lives where it's fucky, life's shit, basically. Life can screw with us in ways that we can never imagine, really. So to have an outlet where we can learn how to deal with like loss and cope with it is something that we need really, and it's kind of a shame that they never covered Yae-San in the anime. It's kind of surprising really, because she seemed like a very in-depth character to Kiri, and it would have been nice to learn about the other characters' pasts basically. I mean, they kind of do give a little bit of a hint of Okami's past, but that's just her working like as a separate entity through the Torii gates. Like that's not really in the past at Konohana Kitan. That was just like a little Easter egg to know that she used to work at Konohana Kitan. Like when she was younger, she basically started up Konohana Kitan with a goddess of the time basically. So it was kind of surprising how they just showed that one little like fleckle of a moment and never like added on to it. Like you could have like made an entire new season of the past. There could still be a spin-off of Konohana Kitan in the past with Kiri and Yae-San and Sakura. So you never know. I mean, I hope, but you know, there aren't that many people that would sit down and watch like a cutesy Yuri anime, which is a shame because it's got a good story. It could have a good backing to a good story if it was put onto the big screen. But again, there's more story to the book than the film itself. It's just a shame, really. It's just a good story if they gave it the time to learn about it, basically. So, with that, lads and ladies, I will wrap up this review. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm going to get my left hand done today. I'm going to get a tattoo, shave my hand all over. It feels kind of like a baby's bottom, really. It's really soft, unfortunately. It's kind of cold as well. I'm surprised how cold it is without like hair on my body. Surprisingly, you know, I get cold as it is really when I'm out and about really. So you know, just having like no hair on me, I feel kind of naked. So you didn't have to know that. Sorry guys. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be getting a British and Irish Lions tattoo on my hand to celebrate the British and Irish Lions rugby team. You know, you gotta represent really, and I definitely am proud of my good old Great Britain of old, of Scotland, Ireland, Wales and England, basically rallying together to take on the teams of South Africa, New Zealand and Australia, and hopefully maybe Argentina if they can ever put their hats into, if they could put their, what is it, coins in the hat? I can't remember the term, but yeah. I'll be getting that done this afternoon, and hopefully I can show you how it looks by next week. It should have healed up a little bit by then, and I might be getting a second tattoo. I'm not so certain yet. I'm going to see how that goes. But I will let you know how that goes next week, and I'll probably do a Kaiju Girl Caramelize review next week, mostly due to the fact that I have like 5 volumes and I need to go through them. And I only have like 2 more volumes of Konohana Kitan, so I will also do those in between, just to finish off the series. And it has been a while since I last did this volume. I last did a volume of Konohana Kitan. So that's that one done for you guys. And yeah, I'll see if I can get back to this within 2 weeks or so time. So thank you ever so much, lads and ladies, for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and take care and have a lovely, beautiful, fantastic day. Bye, guys.